All right. Hello, everybody. Sorry, this is a kind of an odd start, but I'm gonna do this. Take one, Christian and me. I'm sorry, my dog is scratching the door. I'm just gonna get this so he can come in. Hey, Christian, how are you?
Yeah, really good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. Thank you very much. I was thinking maybe we can call this mini series or whatever we want to call it, take one, because we're just gonna do this without any rehearse or edit or anything, no filter.
I love it. Live, impromptu, just one take. Take one.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys can see this little guy. I'm sorry. This is a bit of a mess. I'm working from home today. I'm not gonna lie. I work from home most of the day as much as Christian allows me. But yeah, you guys meet Yogi the bear, Yogi teddy bear. All right. He's
Not
not
so
very
little.
interested in humans. Yeah.
Not so little.
But yeah. So I was actually just watching a video this morning, or maybe it was an article, I don't know, from Economist, and this might be a little bit controversial, but I want to talk to you about this because I think it might be of an interest to some people. They were talking about the impact of Brexit. I'm not going to go into politics, but so I don't want to talk about like your opinion or your take on it. But they were kind of comparing the GDP per capita for the UK versus Poland, and I think there was a lot of. I remember when I moved here into the UK 2014, there was a lot of emphasis on Eastern European people coming here. There was a bit of a sentiment, maybe more than a bit, around people coming here taking the good old British jobs, and they were just talking about how the Poland economy has rocketed. The GDP may have doubled or tripled the GDP per capita in Poland, which is kind of ironic with that. I wanted to know what is your feeling? Like, I know a lot has happened since Brexit, like at least COVID. I don't know, well, Brexit itself. How do you how do you feel it in your day-to-day life or like job or people around you?
Yeah, really good. Really good question. Tough not to give controversial answers. So being thrown in at the deep end here. Thank you. Well, I'm not sure if you were in the country, were you, when Brexit actually happened? Were you in London at that stage or not?
uh Sorry, what year was that? My history. There's
We're
so much
looking.
happening in my life. Maybe we can I don't do we say Google these days or do we say let's chat GPT this fact today?
Well, that's another article I was just reading about. Is that they're just bringing out a new browser, aren't they, to rival
So
Google?
Brexit took place again. I don't know when it came to effect or when was the voting, but it was 31st of January 2020, according to Wikipedia.
That sounds about
So
right. About 5 years ago.
at that point, I was in Dubai. I was getting ready. It was confirmed we were going to move to Singapore, and I think at that point the COVID has not started, from what I remember. I think it was like March or April that the pandemic was like globally announced by the World Health Organization, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, Brexit. Let's say for the sake of this conversation, let's say January 2020.
Yeah. So we're looking at now, aren't we? Over 5 years since it's happened. What impact have we seen? An interesting comparison between Poland, for one, because if we were to step back 7, 8 years, we saw an influx of Eastern Europeans into the UK. Then arguably they would make the country better. They would come in with a really good work ethic. Left a lot of, again, being controversial, a lot of British people to shame. So the figures that you've just mentioned, I hadn't seen that article, but that firstly doesn't surprise me in any way, shape or form. In terms of the impact that Brexit's had on the UK and how obvious it's been, I guess the first factor to throw in there is obviously the fact that we've had COVID as well through that time period, which has impacted UK economy, world economy, and because of COVID, and because of the way the Conservative government dealt with that, plus Brexit issues, so that a change of prime minister from well, in that 5-year time span, we're looking at from Boris to Liz Truss, then to a Labour government. So we haven't really had a period of stability since Brexit. So the impact, the impact, I think, is hard to actually decipher as to whether it's been Brexit has brought positive, negative changes, whether that because of COVID, because of the change of government, because of certain policies, as we've discussed before, immigration, etc. It sounds like I'm sidestepping the question. To an extent I am, but it's very, very hard to assess how good an impact, what positive and negative impact it's had, really. Arguably it's meant that, I mean, one of the reasons that it got passed was we wanted to be able to be lawmakers ourselves in the UK. That still doesn't seem like we have that power. We still seem to be governed by the European Central Court. So a lot of the potential positives of why people voted for Brexit, immigration was one. As I say, taking control not just of the borders, but of our decision-making process, so that we didn't have to report to the European Court of Appeal. Things like that, they just haven't come to fruition. So it feels like we've isolated ourselves a little bit, yes. And certainly recently, Keir Starmer's been able to negotiate some pretty good big trade deals, which arguably could he have done if we were still a member of the EU. I'm not sure. But as daft as a response as it is 5 years later, I still think it's too early to actually feel whether or not it was the right thing to have done.
Sure. So maybe a simpler way of asking it: has your life and the people around you, family, siblings, close friends, do you think the life has been better, worse? I mean, this is very anecdotal. I'm not asking for like a you know a study that has been done. I just want to see, and it's obviously it's going to be difficult to know the impact of it. Like what is the reason, if it is better or worse? What's the reason exactly behind it? But just like from that one sort of uh, monumental incident being Brexit, how do you feel about life? Has it been better, worse, more opportunities, less?
From a personal perspective, from a family and friends perspective, life has gone unchanged. Quite honestly, that's not to say that for other people that they wouldn't have seen change, but there's not been an increase or a reduction in opportunities in the fields that I work in, my family, my friends work in. Very, very little impact, really. As I say, I'm sure we could invite other guests to join us here, where they would say quite the contrary, and they would say, yeah, it's massively impacts their ability. Whether someone that's working abroad, certain travel restrictions, the need for visas, etc., into certain countries, which myself and yourself joke about quite often, as a UK person, we feel that we have free reign across the whole world, and we can travel when and where we want without visa applications. I know that would affect people that are traveling, so that's a potential impact. But from a day-to-day life, with I won't say normal life, but for the standard UK person with a regular job, I'm not sure how much impact we've seen, Saeed, to be honest.
Well, I think I've told you this. Well, you know this, but for the viewers, I've lived most of my life in Dubai. And I think this might be very obvious, but one of the main reasons that a lot of people, especially blue collar workers, if you will, that they want to come here or go to the US and live in this country, it's because the minimum wages. If you're a plumber, electrician, tradesman, is that a right term? We have done we bought a home, you know that, and we've done a renovation, and I come to know about a lot of these sort of terminology. So you want to be here, and and I certainly, most certainly see that to get a small job easily, anybody come and pay you a visit, that you're going to be charged 300 quid for it. Um, so, and I don't know if that is stating the obvious, but a lot of people who are in that line of work, they want to be here because they get paid more. And I wondered if, like, have you ever seen that? If you needed to do any repair, I know you do have a portfolio of property yourself where you do buy to let, things like that. I don't know if you fully manage. I know they're kind of spread across the country, so I'm sure you're not managing all of those. But have you seen any impact on that by any chance? Like getting maintenance, ongoing services, getting things fixed? Is it easier, more difficult, or you just have your own team and it hasn't impacted you at all?
Yeah, again, without giving this the same sort of answer, it may be because of the locality of where my buy-to-lets are, but it hasn't been impacted by the fact that we've got the same team of people, which is something I would always advise people to do, regardless, is to find those tried and tested, what we refer to as expert team, not just in terms of contractors, but if you're going to be building a UK property portfolio, and it's something that we're very keen on, Saeed, in terms of our hands-off opportunities, is by having an expert team that we allow clients to have access to, and that goes back to the buying process as well. So having solicitors, mortgage brokers, letting agents that are tried and tested. I know I'm going off topic, but yeah, in terms of have I seen any changes that Brexit would bring about to contractors? No, I would say in terms of the cost of anything that needs doing to properties, we have seen an increase. More, I would say, with the price of goods rather than price of service. But again, that is making sure that you've got an expert team that you can call upon to know that, okay, the price might have gone up on the materials, but that you're getting looked after and you're not getting overcharged for the services side of things.
And from the, obviously, because I mean, you are personally very resourceful, and your portfolio is in the localities, like you said. That do you think those, like, have you used that personal experience, sort of, knowledge and expertise? Have you used that when it came to the investors, clients that you have, especially the overseas clients, or maybe people who are, young professionals, or maybe pensioners, who are in the country, but I don't know, maybe they're farther down in the south or just like somewhere else in the country. Have you used that to, like, utilize that expertise for their benefit as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of investments that we look at, a lot of properties that we look at, as obviously you're aware, but some of our viewers might not be aware, is a lot northwest based. So Manchester, Liverpool, Bolton, Leeds, and across to the East Midlands as well. And because of where I based, which we've discussed in previous episodes, I'm in leafy Cheshire. I'm fortunate enough away to be 45 minutes from Birmingham, Manchester, Liverpool, meaning that, yeah, that expert team of contractors, of letting agents, can be utilised in all of those areas. Even the East Midlands, Derby, Nottingham, Leicester, is around about an hour away. So yeah, I've absolutely been able to use that pool of contractors,
So
um,
is it
for
is
for
it fair to
clients.
say that if you work as an overseas investor, somebody who's not a UK resident, is it fair to say that if you're not based in the UK, there is a chance for you to run these operations and, and operate these properties in an efficient way, same way as a local person, as a resident in the UK, as somebody who manages their own property can?
Without a shadow of a doubt, absolutely. We have dealt for years now with international clients buying properties in the UK. And why we're able to offer that service is that, for that very reason, you can give a completely hands-off service from the initial purchasing point of view, mortgage brokers, solicitors, tax specialists, and letting agents, and a panel of them. So the ability to purchase a property without ever viewing the property, we as a company or colleagues of ours also can do live videos of the property. So from an initial point of view, yeah, absolutely doable. Then on an ongoing basis, as I say, from the letting agent will look after the property in its entirety. If there's any issue on the property, then they have the expert team of contractors that can go out there and make sure that any issue is fixed as and when. But because of the nature of the properties that we typically deal with, a lot tend to be new builds or near completion off-plan properties. Any issues are very, very rare anyway, and they're covered under a 10-year warranty. So we, from a hands-off point of view, yeah, investing in UK property is geared for just that. I would say 75 to 80% of our clients literally have never visited the property or properties that they own.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much, Christian. We promised to keep it around 15 minutes, so we've sort of passed that mark. This is another take one. We'll be back shortly, hopefully with daily material and content, and can't wait to see you guys again. Thank you again, Christian.
Thank you, everyone.